Hi Reddit. I'm Mike, 29. What happened this year still blows my mind, and yeah, I need to get it out. It started when my mom remarried last spring. I wasn't against it. She'd been widowed for 6 years, and the guy seemed decent. His name was Tom, mid-50s, basic suburban type. They dated for a bit, nothing wild. Then boom, wedding in June, and by July, he and his son were moving in. Let me be clear, I own the house. My dad left it to me when he passed. I've been living here solo for 3 years. Mortgage-free. I cover the bills, the upkeep, everything. Mom moved back in last year after losing her job. I didn't mind. She's my mom. But when she said Tom and his son Kyle were coming, I hesitated. I didn't know Kyle well. Just that he was 24, dropped out of college, figuring stuff out, and had been bouncing between jobs and couches for a while. They arrived with 6 suitcases and a futon. Kyle took the guest room. Tom and Mom moved into the master bedroom. First week, fine. Kyle kept to himself. We nodded in the hallway. No big deal. Week 2, he started eating my food. I'd stock the fridge, and stuff would just vanish. Protein shakes, steak, beer gone. I asked him about it. Oh, sorry, man. Thought that was for everyone. I told him it wasn't. He laughed, said, damn okay, and walked off. No apology. I bought a mini fridge. Locked it. He rolled his eyes. Then came the music. Loud EDM at 2 a.m. I knocked on his door one night and asked him to keep it down. Chill. I got headphones, just forgot to plug them in. Third time it happened, I cut the Wi-Fi. Only I control the router. He was pissed, but that got his attention. Still, I try to keep the peace. I didn't want to start drama with my mom's new husband, but things kept escalating. One night, I came home and Kyle was in the living room, feet on a coffee table, playing PS5. My PS5. Where'd you get the passcode? I asked. Your mom gave it to me. Said I could use it when you're not around. I told him flat out, don't touch my stuff again. He scoffed, didn't even pause the game. Then came the breaking point. I woke up one morning and found my office locked. The key was gone. Inside was my PC, my work equipment, everything. I banged on the door. No answer. Kyle came out of the bathroom, toothbrush in mouth, and said, oh yeah, I moved my stuff in there. Figured it's a better setup. I work better with more space. I stared at Kyle, still holding his toothbrush like we were just casually chatting. You locked me out of my own office? I asked. Well, technically, he said, still chewing, it's your mom's house too, and she said I could use the room. My jaw clenched. I didn't yell, didn't threaten. I walked downstairs, grabbed a flathead screwdriver, and went back up. Popped the lock in under 10 seconds. He had already dragged his gaming chair, his speaker setup, and even taped anime posters to the wall. My $3,000 work rig was shoved to the side, screen tilted. I walked straight to it and unplugged everything. Yo, what the hell are you doing? He snapped. You've got 10 minutes to move your crap out of this room, I said. Or, I move it for you. You're joking. I wasn't. I started grabbing his gear and hauling it into the hallway. He started yelling, you're being psycho. I'm calling Dad. Do it. And call your mom, too, while you're at it. 10 minutes later, I was putting the lock back on. He stood there fuming, pacing like he couldn't believe someone told him no for the first time in his life. An hour after that, I got a call from my mom. Mike, what's going on? Kyle says you threatened him. No, Mom. Kyle stole my workspace, locked me out, and acted like it was normal. I warned him. He ignored it. She sighed. That guilty sigh she gives when she knows I'm right, but doesn't want to pick sides. Can we all just talk when I get home? Sure. But just so we're clear, I'm not tolerating this again. That evening, Tom, Mom, Kyle and I sat in the living room like some fake sitcom family. I laid it out straight. He touches my stuff again, he's out. Tom jumped in. Mike, with all due respect, you're being a little territorial. With my house. It's your mom's home, too. She's a guest here. You're all guests. This house is mine, legally. You think I'm bluffing? I want to see the deed. Kyle grinned like he found it funny. Tom looked uncomfortable. Mom stayed quiet. I ended the conversation. I'm giving Kyle 24 hours to shape up. No more noise. No more stealing. No more acting like this is his place. Last warning. Kyle stood up, still smirking. Cool story, bro. He walked out. The next morning, my office door was unhinged. Literally. He had taken it off the frame. And that's when I stopped warning. I called someone. The hinges were on the floor. My office door was leaning against the hallway wall like it had never belonged there. Inside, Kyle was back at my desk, blasting YouTube videos, drinking my energy drink, and pretending nothing happened. Thought it looked cooler without the door, he said. I didn't reply. I took a picture, turned around, and left the house. Drove straight to my buddy Nate's office. He's a property attorney. I laid everything out. Ownership papers, screenshots, texts. He skimmed through them, then looked at me and said, "They're squatters, Mike. Legally protected guests, maybe, but they've got no standing. You can evict them. Even my mom. It's your house. You decide who stays. You're within your rights." I had him draft a formal notice to vacate. One for Tom, one for Kyle. I didn't include my mom yet. When I got home, Kyle was in the kitchen making nachos, shirtless, blasting music from a Bluetooth speaker. I handed him the paper. He laughed like I gave him a flyer. "What's this supposed to be?" "It means you've got 7 days to find another place. You're kicking me out? I'm not your landlord. I'm the owner. You're done." That wiped the grin off his face. He crumpled the notice and threw it at me. I didn't flinch. Tom came home an hour later. I gave him his copy. He tried to play it calm. "Mike, be reasonable. We're family now. You're not. You married my mom last month and moved in like this was your inheritance. That ends now. Where are we supposed to go?" "Not my problem." He tried to guilt trip me. I didn't engage. My mom got home last. She saw them sulking in the kitchen and came to me quietly. "You're really doing this?" He ripped the door off my office. She didn't respond. "You said this would be temporary." "It's not working, Mom." She nodded but didn't argue. That told me enough. The next few days, Kyle got hostile. Loud stomping, slamming cabinets, passive-aggressive muttering. I ignored all of it. I bought security cameras. Installed one in the hallway, one facing the front door. Didn't ask permission. Didn't need to. On day 5, I came home to find the hallway camera unplugged and flipped around. I checked the app. The last footage showed Kyle holding up his middle finger to the lens before cutting it off. I called the cops. They showed up fast. I showed them the footage, the notices, and the ownership papers. The officer looked around, asked a few questions, then said, "If they touch your property again, call us. You've done everything right." Kyle stood behind him, arms crossed, fake innocent. He was running out of moves, and I was just getting started. I filed the eviction on the morning of day 7. Nate handled it. Simple process. Tom and Kyle were served the same day. Official notice, court stamped. 30 days to leave or show up in court. When I got home, the energy in the house was different. Kyle wasn't stomping or blasting music. He was quiet. He knew it was real now. No more bluffing. Tom was on the phone in the backyard, pacing and muttering. I heard phrases like legal fees and what are our options. I didn't ask. I walked into the kitchen and found my mom standing at the sink, arms crossed. "You really filed court papers?" "Yes." "You couldn't just talk to them again?" "I did. They didn't listen." He broke into my office. He vandalized my property. "That's not a discussion. That's grounds." She didn't respond. "Mom, I've let them stay here. For months. Rent-free. I paid for food, utilities, everything. He treats me like a roommate and acts like this is his place. He's young, Mike. He's 24, not 12. She turned to me, and then she dropped it. "If they go, I go too." I blinked. "Are you serious? They're my family now. I'm your son, and I love you, but I can't let them be out on the street." I didn't yell. I didn't argue. I just nodded and walked out. That night, I locked my door, moved my PS5, work gear, and valuables into my room. Installed a second lock. Put one of the hallway cameras inside the office now. The line had been drawn. 3 days later, Tom tried to serve me with a counterclaim. He filed a motion to contest the eviction, claimed it was retaliatory, that Kyle and he were established tenants with verbal agreements. It was garbage, but now it was official garbage. We had a hearing scheduled 2 weeks out. I was ready. In the meantime, Kyle started acting like he'd already won, walking around shirtless again, playing loud videos on speaker, leaving dishes everywhere, ignoring me entirely, until one night, he pushed too far. I came home and found the back door unlocked. Jasper, my dog, was gone. I searched the entire block, found him whimpering 3 streets down, cornered near traffic. He'd never wandered before. ever. Next morning, I checked the security cam. There was Kyle, opening the door, looking around, smirking, then walking away. I sent the footage to my lawyer. Now we weren't just talking eviction. We were talking endangerment. We showed up to court on a rainy Tuesday morning. Kyle walked in wearing a hoodie, earbuds still in. Tom had on a blazer that didn't fit. My mom came too, sat in the back, didn't say a word. I was calm. My lawyer Nate was calm. We had the footage, the printed eviction, receipts, property ownership, screenshots of texts, everything. Their lawyer tried to spin it like I was some vengeful man-child trying to kick out his stepfamily because of control issues. Kyle leaned back in his chair like it was a joke, smirking, chewing gum. The judge wasn't amused. "Let's be clear," he said, flipping through the file. "This house is fully owned by Mr. Mike. There is no lease, no rent paid, no written agreement. And you," he pointed at Kyle, "removed a door, tampered with private property, and endangered a pet." Kyle shrugged. "Was just letting the dog get fresh air." The judge snapped. "You opened a back door and left it unattended. That's not fresh air. That's neglect." Tom tried to cut in with a shaky speech about blended families and building trust. The judge shut him down. Then came my turn. Nate slid a folder across the table. Inside was the camera footage. Kyle flipping off the lens. Unlocking my office. Letting Jasper out. Then I pulled out one last document. "This," I said, "is a certified letter from 3 months ago, notifying all guests that any future damage, theft, or disruption would result in legal action." It was emailed, printed, and physically delivered. Judge read it, nodded, filed properly, received, not disputed. He turned to Kyle. "Pack your things. You have 10 days. Tom stood up. "This isn't fair." Judge didn't even look at him. Next, they lost. Hard. Outside the courthouse, Kyle walked past me. "You think this is over? I got videos. I've got followers. People will hear about this." I stared at him. "You made the mistake of thinking this was your story, but you're just a footnote." He shoved past me. Tom followed, muttering. "My mom stayed. You didn't have to humiliate them. They did that to themselves. You really won't reconsider? They tried to ruin my home, Mom." You stood there and watched. She didn't respond. Then I hit her with a second blow. "I'm selling the house." She froze. "What?" "I'm moving. Starting over. You have a decision to make. Come with me, or stay with them." Halfway through, they thought they'd take everything. Now, they're the ones being left behind. But trust me, they're not done. Not yet. The ruling was clear. 10 days and they're out. No appeal. No loophole. Day 1, they sulked. Day 2, Kyle blasted music again, passive-aggressive and pathetic. Day 3, I came home and noticed something off. My bedroom door was unlocked. That door never stayed open. Ever. I checked the camera inside. It was disabled. I knew right then. He'd been in my room. I walked in, opened my drawer, and saw it. My documents were scattered. My birth certificate, passport, even my laptop bag was unzipped. Files on the floor. He'd gone digging. I didn't call him out. I didn't even ask. I called the police. When they arrived, I showed them the footage, Kyle entering the hallway with something in his hand. Later, footage cuts off. Tampering. That was enough. Officers knocked on his door. Kyle came out, instantly hostile. "I didn't take anything." "Doesn't matter," the officer replied. "You entered his private room, touched personal documents, and disabled a security device. That's criminal trespass." Kyle looked at me. "You seriously called the cops on me? After everything? After you broke into my room?" "Yeah." Tom came out of their room yelling. "This is harassment. This is law." The cop cut in. Kyle didn't get arrested, but they gave him a written warning and added it to the active file. One more move like that, and he'd be removed before the 10-day period ended. That night, the house went nuclear. Tom slammed cabinet doors. Kyle threw a chair in the garage. My mom? She finally cracked. "This is out of control, Mike." "No," I said. "This is what happens when you let leeches treat your kid like a backup plan." "I didn't know he'd go that far." "You knew. You just hoped I'd let slide." She didn't answer. 3 days left, Mom. Decide where you're going. With me or with them." She looked me in the eye. "I need time." I nodded. "You've got 72 hours. The next day, I installed deadbolts on both my room and the office. Cameras were live again. I worked with my lawyer to prep, for what felt like the final push. But of course, Kyle wasn't done, because that night, while I was out grabbing dinner, he let someone else into the house. A girl, not his girlfriend. Someone new, someone loud, someone who didn't know whose house it was. I got home around 9:30 p.m. with a bag of takeout. From the driveway, I already knew something was wrong. Music thumped from inside, lights flashing through the blinds. I unlocked the front door and walked into what looked like a scene from college house party. Beer cans, loud music, 3 strangers in the kitchen. Some girl I didn't know on my couch with her shoes on, vaping like she lived there. Kyle was in the living room, holding a red cup, laughing with 2 dudes I'd never seen in my life. They all turned when I walked in. Kyle just grinned. Yo, Mike, you're early. Early for what? A chill send-off. We're gone in 2 days. Figured we'd have a little fun. You brought strangers into my house without permission. Relax, man. Everyone's cool. We're not wrecking anything. He said that as one guy knocked over a lamp. I didn't yell, didn't raise my voice. I walked straight to my room, locked the door, opened the security app, and called the police. Again, 20 minutes later, 2 officers knocked on the door. I let them in. We've got multiple unauthorized individuals on private property, I told them. None of them are on the lease, because there is no lease. I want them gone. Now, I'll try to talk. It's just a couple friends. We're not doing anything illegal. But one of the officers had already spotted an open bottle of vodka sitting next to a clearly underage girl in the kitchen. Game over. They started clearing the house. Kyle lost it. This is F*****ing insane. You're ruining my life over a couple drinks. You broke in. You hosted strangers. You're done. One of the cops turned to me. Do you want to file a formal trespass for this individual now? Yes, I said. Tonight. Kyle was escorted off the property. Official criminal trespass notice. Signed, served, and filed. He screamed at me the whole way down the driveway. You're gonna regret this. This is why nobody wants you, man. I didn't say a word. I just closed the door behind him. Tom didn't even come out of his room. My mom? She came into the kitchen 20 minutes later. Quiet. Pale. Is he gone? For good. He had nowhere else to go. He should have thought about that before opening my house to random drunk strangers. She nodded. Then she whispered, I'm going with him. And just like that, she made her choice. The day after my mom left with Kyle, the house was dead quiet. No music, no yelling, just me, Jasper, and silence. Tom was still there. Technically, he had 2 days left per the court order. I stayed out his way. He barely left the bedroom. We didn't speak. On the second day, I came home from work and noticed something strange. My office door was slightly open. It was always locked. I stepped in. Gone. My second monitor, keyboard, a box of tech accessories, and 2 small paintings that used to hang over the desk. One of them was hand-painted by my dad. I checked the hallway cam. Unplugged again. I checked the back door cam. Caught him, walking out to his car with a box. That was enough. I texted Nate. He said file a police report immediately. So I did. An officer came by that night. Took the report. Wrote up his theft. Open case. But I knew Tom wouldn't be stupid enough to sell the stuff. He was doing something worse, trying to make my life hell one box at a time. Next morning, I came downstairs and found him sitting in the kitchen. Coffee mug in hand. Calm. Didn't think you'd be home last night, he said. Why? You planning another souvenir run? You call the cops? You stole from me. He leaned back, smiling like he knew something I didn't. You know, your mom added my name to the utility accounts last month. So technically, I have financial interest in the property, which complicates things. No, Tom, it doesn't. You're not on the deed, not on a mortgage. You don't pay rent. You're a guest, and now you're a thief. He took a sip. My lawyer disagrees. You have a lawyer now? You'll find out soon enough. 2 days later, I got a letter in the mail. Cease and desist. Filed by some cheap law firm. Tom was trying to block the eviction under cohabitation clause. Nonsense. Said he had a right to continue occupancy until a formal financial settlement was negotiated. Total garbage. Nate read it. Laughed. He's desperate, but it's annoying. We'll have to go back to court. That's when I decided I was done playing defense. I made 3 calls that day. My insurance company, a locksmith, a real estate agent, If they wanted war, they were going to get something worse. Irrelevance. Because I wasn't just kicking Tom out. I was preparing to burn the entire game board. The final hearing lasted 7 minutes. Tom's lawyer didn't even show up. Judge dismissed his bogus claim on the spot. Official court order gave him 48 hours to vacate. No appeal. I didn't wait. That same afternoon, the locksmith came. Changed every lock. Tom wasn't home. I left his things boxed on the porch. When he showed up later, I handed him a copy of the court ruling through the screen door. "You're trespassing now," I said. "Next move is cuffs." He didn't argue, just muttered something and left. That night, I slept for the first time in months without checking the cameras or locking my bedroom from the inside. But I wasn't done. The real estate agent came by the next morning. We toured the house, discussed value, and listed it that same week. Market was hot. Within 3 days, I had 3 offers, one over asking price. Accepted. Signed. Scheduled to close in 2 weeks. I started packing. Donated most of the furniture. Kept only what mattered. Paintings. A few books. Jasper stuff. I was done with that place. Not because I hated it, but because it had become a battlefield. It didn't feel like home anymore. And that's when it happened. My mom showed up, unannounced. She stood on the porch holding a grocery bag and a stack of mail. "Hey," she said, smiling weakly. "Brought a few things I forgot." I didn't open the door. "It's sold." "What?" "The house." "Sold. I'm moving." She looked like I slapped her. "You didn't tell me. You made your choice." She stepped closer. "I thought maybe we could talk. After you backed them up? After Kyle trashed the place and Tom tried to sue me? I didn't know it would go that far. You saw it go that far. And you left anyway." She held the bag out. "There's a few photos in here. Your dad's. I didn't want to lose them." I opened the door just enough to take the bag. "Thanks. Mike, I miss you." I nodded. "Yeah, I used to miss you too." Then I closed the door. I stood there for a minute, bag in hand, not feeling angry. Not sad. Just done. Moving out was fast. No farewell dinners. No social media posts. No dramatic boxes in the car photos. I just packed, loaded Jasper in the back seat, and drove. My new place was in a different city. Quiet street. Private yard. No one watching. The agent said, "It's the perfect place to start over." He had no idea how right he was. But before I left, I made sure to leave one last thing behind. About a week after I moved, I got a call from the new owner of the house. "Hey man, just a heads up. Someone came by yesterday asking for you." Older lady, blonde, looked pretty upset. "Did she leave a name?" "Didn't say. Just asked if you still lived here." "And you said?" "Told her you sold the place and moved out of state." "Perfect. Appreciate it." He also reminded me about the envelope I asked him to leave in the kitchen drawer, marked if she ever shows up. It was still there. Inside the envelope, a photo of me, mom, and dad, from before it all went to hell. A copy of the house sale agreement, with her name crossed out in red marker. A note. Short. Direct. No emotion. You didn't lose a house. You lost a son, and that's harder to replace. I don't know if she ever opened it. Don't care. What mattered is I was gone. For good. Now, I live in peace. No stolen food. No doors removed. No one screaming through walls or throwing guilt at me like confetti. Just me, Jasper, and a place that actually feels like mine. Sometimes I wonder if she regrets it. Choosing a lazy man and a destructive kid over the one person who gave her a home. A second chance. Then I remember, I gave her a choice. And she made it. Thanks for listening, Reddit. That was my story. Not about revenge, just about being done. And sometimes, walking away isn't giving up. It's winning without even staying in the ring. See you later.